What is going on, guys? It's Bucky and welcome to your last tutorial in working with files. The last thing I want to talk to you guys is how to read and write actual files. So the first thing that I want to do is, well, let's do this before we even begin. Go ahead and make a new file, and again it's just going to be an empty text file. Next, name it tester file, here so you guys can see it, tester file, and choose and put it in build debug right there where our program's running, and go ahead and finish. So now we have a blank tester file, but this is a tester file and I like bacon, ham. Just fill anything with it and go ahead and save it. So now we have a file, tester file, in our same directory that we're working with. So now we can actually get to the tutorial. You may have already had one. If you do, then we can just use that one. But anyways, the class that we want to use is called NSFileHandle, and this class, the objects we create from it are going to allow you to do things like open files, create output, write things in the file, delete things from the file. So we're going to be making two objects, fin and fout. One of them is going to be for reading files, input, and one of them is going to be for outputting and creating new files. So aside from that, NS data, we're going to be working with this NS data class, and go ahead and make a buffer. Now what a buffer is it's a place to temporarily hold data. So where we're going to be using this is, we're going to be reading data from the file we just created, storing it in a buffer, and then when we're ready to write that data out, just saying, alright, just write this buffer so we don't have to type all that text. It's going to be a lot easier. So the first thing that we want to do is open tester file for reading. In order to do this, go ahead and get your NS file handle. Fin means file in. I mean, it doesn't need to be named fin. That's just what I decided to name it because I like short variables so I don't mistype anything. And here's what you do: NS file handle. In this class, there's a method called file handle for reading at path. And let's go ahead and as your string, this is the path, at tester file. And make sure you spell that right. Tester file. So now what we did is we pretty much opened this tester file and we were able to read the data from it using the fin object. So after that, I'm not going to create any more comments. I'm just going to talk you through it. So after that, what we need to do is create a brand new file. So this file doesn't exist yet because we only have one file in it. We want to create a new file right here and copy the data over. So first thing, let's create that new file. And in order to do this, we actually need one of those file managers, NS File Manager, Default Manager, and what we want this to do is create file at path, and the path is going to be just your file name. Of course, we learned this before. Just name it new file. In the contents, just set this equal to nil. We don't want anything in there yet. And attributes, just set this equal to nil too. So you're pretty much creating just a blank file. I mean, that's it, with nothing in it. So after you created your blank file, what we want to do next is open that file so we're able to write stuff in it. So in your FOUT, your other file handler, what you want to do is set this one equal to NS file handle for, and I don't know why this isn't popping up. Oh, I know. NS file handle. There we go. I got kind of ahead of myself right there. So what we want to do is, in this class, there's an object, or excuse me, there's a method called file handle for reading at path, but we actually want to change this reading to writing at path. So check this out. Let me fill in the path and then I'll explain what I just did. New file. Whenever you create file handle objects, fin and fout, you say what you want the file handle object to do. We said this one is for reading, so this file is able to read files. This object is able to read files. This one is for writing, so whenever we use fout, we're able to write stuff in our file, and that just means like write text in our file. So after that, what we need to do is something called truncate the file. And what truncate means is pretty much get rid of anything that may be in the file. So let me add a little comment. Truncate file. So in order to do this, we need to fout because we need to get rid of anything that's in the file that we're going to be writing to. Fout truncate file at offset looks good, and start at 0. That means start at the beginning and delete everything in the file. So now what we did pretty much so far is, alright, we opened the tester file to read stuff from it, and then we created a new file, and then we said, alright, we're going to write stuff to the file, but first we want to delete everything. And now when you actually want to start writing, what do we want to do? We want to copy everything from this file, the tester file, and well, let's go ahead and do that first. So go ahead and take that buffer, which is pretty much temporarily, it's pretty much memory, and fn read data to end of file, just like that. And that's all you need to put. So what this is going to do is it's going to open that fin object, which is tester file, and read all of the data from it, and it's going to store all of that data in a variable called buffer. So now what we want to do is take that buffer, which is pretty much all the text in the file, and we want to write it to the fout file. And this is incredibly simple. Fout, there's just a built-in method called write data, and we want to write buffer. Pretty easy, huh? So now what we did basically is deleted everything in the output file, which is the new file, and then we read all of the data from the old file and copied it into the new file. Pretty cool, huh? So now after we're done with this, just put fin close file, and remember always to close your files when you're done working with it. And check this out. See, right now all we have is the tester file, and if I double click that, you can see this is the tester file, and I like bacon and ham, yada yada. It doesn't really matter what's in it. So let's go ahead and build and run this and see what we get. A new file pops up right here, and when we double click on it, it says this is tester file, I like bacon and ham. So what it did is it pretty much created a new file, and then it copied all the stuff from inside tester file and wrote it to new file. So what did it do? Well, let me show you what it did in our console now. It opened that tester file right here using fin object, and then it created a new file with the NS file manager, which we learned how to do in the last tutorials, and then it opened the new file, so we were able to write stuff in it. But first, before we did, we want to make sure that everything was deleted. You usually want to do this when you're writing a file from bare bones. And then what it did, after everything was deleted in the new file, stored all the data in the old file in a variable called buffer. It took that data and wrote it in the new file, fout, and then it closed both the files because, you know, good housekeeping practice, close files when you're done with it, and bam, that's what we did. So again, that's the last tutorial that I'm going to be teaching you concerning files. There's a lot more stuff to go over, but it's pretty much the same concepts we learned. Just a bunch of built-in methods for, you know, paths, directories, files. Everything else from now on should be self-explanatory. We're ready to move on to the next topic. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, source code below, and I'll see you later.